Hare Krishna. Let's do Ishvara Parama Krishna first. Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Satchidananda Vigraha.
Satchidananda Vigraha.
Nadiradir Govinda.
Anadiradir Govinda.
Sarvakarana Karanam.
Sarvakarana Karanam.
Supreme Personality of the Godhead. He is the Supreme Controller. Krishna is the embodiment of eternality, knowledge and bliss. Krishna is the most primeval Lord who takes care of the cows and who is the maintainer of our senses. Krishna is the cause of all causes. That's the meaning of the prayer, what we did. Once this meaning is completely absorbed in us, then we can understand what Krishna is saying in a most useful manner. Else it will be like a novel. So the supremacy of the Lord, the merciful nature of the Lord, the compassionate nature of the Lord, these all things make us understand his teachings nicely. Bhagavad Gita is the only scripture which is spoken directly by the Lord to his pure devotee in the battlefield. So very important. We did 5 classes till now. First one was the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, lengthier explanation about how did this situation come, because of which Krishna had to speak Bhagavad Gita. Lineage, dynasties, cousins, relatives, friends, and all those things. First chapter is Arjuna Vishadha Yoga, wherein we discussed about Arjuna's condition after seeing his own kith and kin ready to fight and lose their lives. In that, Arjuna says about 6 reasons why he doesn't want to fight. Logistical reasons, inclined with Vedas, all those reasons he gives, and he says that he cannot fight. In the second chapter, which was analytical divisioning of our existence, major portion was about body and soul concept. Yes, Niyati? Body and soul concept, major portion. How we are not the temporary body, but we are the eternal souls, the nature of the soul, the characteristics of the soul. Trying to help Arjuna to understand that he is not either killing the body because it has to get killed anyhow, or it has to get deteriorated anyhow. He is not killing the soul because soul cannot be killed. And in the last part of the second chapter, it explains about the Buddhi Yoga. With this knowledge of we, knowing that we are the soul, not the body, how we have to act according to the nature of the soul, being part and parcel of Krishna. That's the second chapter. It's a vast chapter. It's the second largest chapter volume wise. So we took 2 classes on that. Second chapter, part 1, part 2. And the third chapter, which we did yesterday, was Karma Yoga. Lot of details on Karma Yoga. Starts with the question of Arjuna. Why do you want me to engage in this ghastly warfare when you're saying devotional work is important? Please tell me, sure, which will be beneficial for me. Very important. And Krishna explains different types of karmas, different types of results of those karmas, how we can act in such a way that we don't get karma. Try to clear the Arjuna's confusion by all this knowledge on Karma Yoga. Now, I call this and tell to my students a sandwich philosophy. Karma Yoga is the bottom bread. Now we are going to do the transcendental knowledge, which is the masala inside it, whatever you want to put. Salad material, potato material, mirchi masala material. That is the sandwich material in between. Cheese, if you want plain cheese sandwich. That is transcendental knowledge. And now the base bread and then the transcendental knowledge. On top of it will come the closing bread slice, which is karma yoga in Krishna consciousness. We understood what is karma yoga, we understood what is the transcendental knowledge. We are going to do that today, 4th chapter, and the 5th chapter will be over bread, which is the realized actions after knowing the transcendental knowledge. Got it? Sandwich. So now let's start with the sandwich masala, or the material, which is transcendental knowledge. Okay, so word transcendental knowledge. Knowledge means jnana. So this chapter is also known as jnana yoga. 3rd chapter is known as karma yoga. 4th chapter is known as jnana yoga. English translation is transcendental knowledge. Let's do little dissection of this particular word, or 2 parts of this one subject, transcendental knowledge. Transcendental and knowledge. Knowledge means to know something which we don't know, or knowledge means to remind ourselves of something which we forgot. That is knowledge. Ignorance is not a curse word, as I have said. If you don't know something, you are ignorant. That's okay. What is the solution? Is to get the knowledge. The knowledge is very important. As long as you are okay with being ignorant, nobody can help you. But once you get out of, or get to the point where you want to get out of this ignorance, that is the pivot point wherein you can get the knowledge and you can become intelligent. So ignorant to intelligent, or ignorant to knowledgeable. That's knowledge. What knowledge we should have? First thing, the most important knowledge is nature of us, nature of the source of us, and how to connect back to that source. This is the knowledge. Very important knowledge. Now the first part of this knowledge, what we talked about, is transcendental. Let's understand detailedly what is this transcendental. Transcendence means raising above, transcending we call, right? We have transcended, we have transcending. So rising above. Important chapter. No dozing off or no getting blank. So rising above. So what we are rising above in this transcendental world? We are rising above the 3 modes of material nature. If you both remember, in the 2nd class, before the 1st chapter, I explained about the 5 subject matters discussed in Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. There is recording which you can see, of course. So Ishvara means Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Jiva means all we living entities who are part and parcel of Krishna. Prakriti is material nature. 4th one is Kala, the time. Krishna says, time I am. Everything is noted with the time, our age, our time, our ages, everything. And the last one is the karma. And I have explained that out of all these 5 subject matters, don't feel anything if you don't remember what we did a month back, or what are we doing, and we are just deeply understanding when Mataji is telling, and we don't remember now. 5 weeks back Mataji explained all these things. It's recorded, you can listen, and again I'm doing this subject matter maybe 100th time, so I'm remembering it. It's not that you have to remember, because it's just 2nd time you're hearing, so it's okay if you don't remember. But these are the 5 subjects matter we talked about, and karma is the only subject matter which we can change, which is there in our hands. Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Prakriti, nothing we can change. They are fixed. So from that 5 subject matter, the subject matter which we are going to deal now about the word transcendental is Prakriti. Prakriti means material nature. Material nature means it is filled with 3 modes. What are the 3 modes of material nature? Is mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. I will show you one picture from Bhagavad Gita, middle pages. You can see it later from the book, but I will show it here on the screen, which talks about these 3 modes of material nature. You see here 3 beautiful ladies, and top of them,
yeah,
Krishna standing, and below it are the jivas. Those two black and black dressed jivas are Niyati and Ishita, and they are being pulled. I'm just kidding. They are the jivas, any living entity, human beings. They are pulled by those ropes. The ladies have ropes in their hands. Mode of goodness is yellow, mode of passion is red, and mode of ignorance is black. These are called in Sanskrit terminology Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. Guna means nature, Guna means qualities. The qualities which are in the mode of goodness is Sattva. The qualities which are in the mode of passion are Rajo, and the qualities which are in the mode of ignorance are Tamas. And on top of them, who is the creator of those all three modes? Is Krishna. Why are these three modes created? Why are these qualities created? And all those things we will discuss in the details of this chapter. But what you have to understand from this image, look at the image clearly. That's why I'm not showing up myself in the screen. I'm showing up this image. Look at this image clearly. This is like something puppet show. You know the puppet shows, right? We call in Telugu Tolu Bommalata, wherein they are tied with the strings, and the strings are operated behind the screen, and the puppets move on the screen according to the direction of the puppeteer. So these three ladies are the puppeteers, and we are the puppets. And they are not catching us just like that. Mode of ignorance is not saying, I like Niyati very much, so let me go to Niyati. Or mode of goodness is not saying, I like Ishita very much, so let me go to her. No. We are consciously choosing these modes of material nature. We are getting inclined to work according to this material nature. In the second chapter, if you see, in the third chapter, if you see Karma Yoga, I have explained you very clearly that how a person cannot sit quiet. He has to work. Remember, that was yesterday's class or something like that. So it says that no one can sit quiet without working. Yes. So while working, you will choose different your inclination towards which side you have to work is your choice. So for that reason, Krishna has created these three different modes and three different natures and these three different inspirations for all of it, because everybody is not the same. Let's come back to this transcendental knowledge. Lord Krishna begins this chapter. It doesn't begin with the inquiry of Arjuna. It starts with explanation of Krishna saying, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Lord Krishna begins this chapter. Maybe you want to wash your face and come, you're falling asleep. Somehow you did not have enough sleep. I can see today.
No, I'm not.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lord Krishna begins this chapter by describing the history of this Bhagavad Gita, what we are reading. Several millennium of years, several millions of years ago, Krishna instructed this Bhagavad Gita knowledge to Sun God. That's how Krishna starts this verse. Very important verse, 4.1. Imam vivasvate Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam Vishwan manave pradha manurikshva kave bravit ikshva kave bravit. Very important word. This says that Krishna is saying that I have instructed this knowledge already to Sun God. It starts with Krishna saying that I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to first Sun God. Who was the Sun God? Then Vivashwan. And then Vivashwan instructed this particular transcendental knowledge or science of yoga to Sun God has given to Manu. Who is these Manus? Manus are the original progenitors, are the first, how Jivas started coming up is through Manu. Manu are like fathers of mankind. So it was given for Manu. This knowledge was given. Vivashwan, the Sun God, gave this knowledge to mankind, father of mankind. And then Manu instructed this to Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku was the first king of earthly planetary system in present millennium. So this knowledge is given to important people. Manu is not an ordinary person, and Ikshvaku is not an ordinary person. They are leaders who are going to lead, so that knowledge has to be given leaders, and they give it to the followers or the subjects. So why it was given to sun god? Because sun is the king of all planets. Sun god rules over sun planet. This sun planet controls all other planets by supplying heat and light, which is very important for the existence. So the sun is rotating in its orbit under the order of Lord Krishna. So therefore Lord Krishna made sun god the receiver of this knowledge. Very important. And how this knowledge is being transferred to us is the disciplic succession. The word disciplic succession. Through the chain of the disciplic succession, this knowledge is being transferred, and the same knowledge of science of yoga I am giving to you because it is lost in course of time. It is said, in course of time, this particular disciplic succession is broken. The knowledge is being stopped to share. So I am re-establishing or re-emphasizing or re-instructing that knowledge to you, O Arjuna. There is a very beautiful again verse. Verse 2 is also very important. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakalene hamahata yogo nashtak parantapa. What is Krishna saying? This supreme science, because it is transcendental knowledge. How transcendental knowledge is important for doing our actions is very, very important to be emphasized. Okay? This supreme science was thus received through a chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood this in the way it is given and perfected their human life. But because of the course of time, because of the time, long time, this disciplic section is broken and seems to be lost, but it is not lost. I'm going to give you again. If you go to the Bhagavad Gita starting pages, there is a description of where we are getting this knowledge from. In the introduction, after the introduction, just before starting the first chapter, whole thing is given, whole lineage is given, that how this knowledge comes from. I will show you later because we will not have time if we go through that again. But yeah, beautifully depicted with like one after the other, one after the other. It is after the preface, just before starting the first chapter, I think. Introduction is there. Krishna, please make me find fast so that our time, yeah, just before the first chapter here. You see these small letters? Here. You can see in your Bhagavad Gita book afterwards. It starts from Krishna to Brahma, to Narada, to Vyasa, to Madhva, to Padmanabha, and that lineage has 32 people in between. After Krishna giving this knowledge to Brahma in the starting, millenniums back, and then how it comes to us. Very nicely given. So that's the second verse, knowledge and essence of the fourth chapter. Okay, now that ancient knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which is so important, Krishna says, I am instructing to you. And Krishna says, why is he instructing to Arjuna only? Why he is not telling that knowledge to Yudhishthira Maharaj? Why Arjuna is being chosen to get bewildered and confused and say, I don't want to fight? Because there is some qualification, and that qualification is mentioned by Krishna as Krishna says, I am instructing you because you are my devotee and my dear friend. So a person who is not having complete faith in Krishna, or is not a devotee of Krishna, or not a well-wisher of Krishna, or not a friend of Krishna, he cannot be in the position of receiving this knowledge, because he will not understand anything though even he receives that knowledge. So the qualification of one to take this knowledge is being mentioned here. So one should be a devotee situated in the relationship with Krishna. You may ask, Mataji, you are giving this knowledge to us. We are no way devotees. Let's say we are no way much devoted to Krishna. We no way have proper understanding of being Krishna, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. We not have thought about any relationship with the Supreme Lord, then are we not eligible to receive this knowledge? Coming to the point of understanding from basic eligibility to know the signs of our existence is being human beings. So we have that basic quality. I cannot go and sit and tell to the dog whose my neighbor is taking on a walk from this window I'm seeing. I cannot tell him because he doesn't have the qualification, because he doesn't have the higher intelligence to understand his existence even though I explain to him. So we are right now at that stage of being human beings and trying to understand the supreme position of the Lord. Once we understand, then we will try to establish this relationship and we will become a devotee of the Lord and understand in a better way. I'm doing this Bhagavad Gita maybe 30 or 40 times now, but still I'm a student, still I'm learning, because according to my position and situation of my consciousness development, I will understand this Bhagavad Gita in different stages, in different ways. Of course, it is going to be in a incremental level of understanding in a nice way, but yeah, it is in different way. Arjuna asking a question now. Sun God is very senior to you. How come you are explaining? You and I are born at the same time, almost with a little different days, days difference. Then how can you explain this knowledge to Sun God? How can I understand that you have instructed this knowledge in so long back in the past to Sun God? And Krishna gives a wonderful answer to it. In one verse only he explains that so many births you have taken, so many births I have taken. The verse is 4.5. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetta parantapa. Krishna is answering Arjuna very nicely, saying that so many births you and we both have passed. I can remember all those births, but you cannot remember. So Krishna is telling a point to Arjuna that you and me are different. You may feel me as your friend, you may feel as your guide, you may feel me as your instructor, you may feel me as your cousin, you may feel me as your friend, you may feel me as your mentor, you may feel me as your spiritual master, but we both are completely different. I am Ishvara and you are Jiva. I can remember all those, but you cannot. What is this meaning? Krishna is coming in every millennium. Every time Krishna comes. But when he comes, he never changes his bodily form, or he is always spiritual. He is never changing. Our body is material, always changing. Birth and death, birth and death. Krishna doesn't come as cat. Krishna doesn't come as dog. Krishna doesn't come as anything which cannot higher understanding. Krishna comes as a help in some avataras to protect his devotees, but Krishna never comes giving instructional wise as an animal, because an animal cannot give instruction. So our body is material, Krishna's body is spiritual. Birth, death, these all things are there for us, but not for Krishna. Spiritual body is eternally youthful, and it has no birth, no death, no old age, no disease. Very important. Krishna's birth is incarnation. We say avatar of Krishna. We don't say we are avatars of Krishna, right? We just take birth because of our karma. Krishna doesn't take birth because of his karma. Krishna appears at his own will and desire. Seemingly we may feel, oh, he is born to Devaki and Vasudeva. No, I mean, he was born to Devaki and Vasudeva in the Dwapar Yuga, but he is a gift of his Lord Vishnu, as a gift coming to them. His transcendental body never deteriorates. For one who is born, there is a death, and one who dies, there is a rebirth. But he is always Krishna in his original supreme personality of Godhead's position. He comes every millennium with this transcendental body, and he explains and gives 3 reasons why he comes to this material world. First, he explains through simple saying that whenever and wherever there is a decline of religious practices, I will come. And when there is a predominance of irreligion, I come to take care of that. So the verse is yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyudhanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyamaham. What does it say? Whenever and wherever there is a decline of religious practices, O Arjuna, and there is a predominance of a religion, at that time I descend myself. And he gives 3 reasons especially why he comes. Very important 3 reasons. The first reason he says is paritranaya sadhunam, means to protect his devotees, or to protect the pious people, or to deliver the pious people. Second thing he says that vinashaya cha dushkritam, that means to annihilate the miscreants or the bad people who create disturbance in the society. And then dharma sanstharpanarthaye, that means to re-establish or establish the principles of dharma. Sambhavami yuge yuge, I myself appear. Yuge yuge means millennium after millennium. These are the 3 reasons what is Krishna is giving as or to Arjuna for why he comes or appears again and again. In the previous verse he says that he is not normal, he is something higher, because he remembers everything past, present and future. And then he says why he is coming. What are the 3 reasons he is coming for? What is the benefit of understanding this transcendental knowledge? First of all, why we have to understand Krishna's transcendental nature? Krishna says, one who understands me and my transcendental nature and my transcendental birth, he will not take birth again. So he will go back to Godhead. So why we have to understand Krishna's nature is because once we understand, then we can go back to Godhead. The verse here mentioned is 4.9. Janma karma cha me divyam yo evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. What does that mean? One who knows, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my birth and my activities does not, upon leaving this body, will take birth again in the material world, but he will come to me, O Arjuna. There is only one Lord. Eko devo nitya leelanukrate bhakta vyapti hridaya antaratma. There is only one God. There is only one supreme personality of the God. Everything is Krishna and Krishna's. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the supreme personality of the Godhead. And there is no other way of achieving this supreme perfection. Krishna's birth is not normal. Krishna's birth is not ordinary. Krishna is not ordinary. Krishna's activities are not ordinary. They are all transcendental activities. They are not done because of karma. They are done because of the compassion of Krishna to purify all of us. He need not come to this material world. He is happy in Goloka doing all these actions there itself. The mundane scholarships, the academic things, all these things are not going to give us this real knowledge. So the real knowledge is the transcendental knowledge which is above the 3 modes of material nature. So-called good studies, science studies, everything can be used in 2 ways. The great people, the great means, why I'm calling them great is they create great havocs, great bomb blastings, great big things. They're all knowledgeable. They are fully knowledgeable. Not only why in Kali Yuga, in previous yugas also, if you take Kamsa, if you take Ravana, if you take anybody in the negative roles, they are fully knowledgeable. But how they are using their knowledge is a different story. Education system has become a big business. Medical system has become a big business. I have a small thing for which I have to go through different sections of medical things. Yesterday I went for my PCP for follow-up of my surgery. He gave me 4 other things and 2 other appointments and many other follow-ups again. It's not needed. Maybe one of it may be needed, but for that we are going through all these things. It has become a business. the real knowledge is lost. And this empirical, philosophical, academical knowledge is making us trapped in this material world. Krishna elaborates more, further elaborates. How does this happen? How does this work, this transcendental knowledge? You are saying knowledge means about the three modes of material nature, but how does it work to break the cycle, for us to break the cycle of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi? How does this help? By getting this knowledge, what happens? Let's discuss. Let's take as points, 3 important points. By getting this transcendental knowledge, a person gets free from nearly 3 things. Very important, 3 things. One is he gets free from the attachment to the temporary. He gets free from the fear of death. That's the biggest fear everybody has. Yes, there is a fear that you will lose your positions, you'll lose your house, or you'll lose your car, or you'll lose your gold or wealth. But main fear is you will lose your life, fear of death. Okay, a person will get free from the fear of death, second thing. And the third one is he will get free from the anger. So attachment, fear and anger, raga, dvesha, krodha. These 3 things are very, very detrimental, or are the impediments in the spiritual progress. One who is a very angry natured person cannot understand the transcendental nature of the Lord, and cannot understand how he has to be above these transcendental modes of material nature. One who has always the fear of death, or fear of losing something. Ravana had fear of death, Kamsa had fear of death. All these mentalities had fear of death. That's what made them averse to the supremacy of the Lord. Rama said that when Vibhishana, brother of Rama, came to surrender unto Rama, everybody in the Kishkinda, or the monkeys of Kishkinda in the border of Lanka, they did not believe in Vibhishana. They said that if he can leave his own brother and come to you, one day there can be a time when he can leave you and go also. How can we trust him as a trustworthy person? And Rama says, forget about Vibhishana, I am going to give him shelter for sure. But even if Ravana comes and surrenders unto me, I will give my shelter and forgive him. That's what Rama says. They are not ready to surrender. Egoistic people who are always dwelling in I and mine, they are not ready to surrender. Does Ravana don't know that Rama is Supreme Personality of the Godhead? Kamsa doesn't know Krishna is the Supreme Personality. They know it, but they don't want to accept the supremacy of the Lord. I am the God. So to have this freedom from attachment, raga, bhaya, fear, and dvesha, through the anger, these 3 things, to get us free from all those 3 things, this transcendental knowledge is very, very useful. One can become fully absorbed in the thoughts of the Krishna and can take the shelter of Krishna alone when these 3 things are not there in him. If I have anger, I have a lot of anger. If I have fear, I have a lot of fears. If I have attachment, I have a lot of attachments. With these 3 things, I cannot understand the spiritual energy of the Supreme Lord, and I cannot connect to that spiritual energy of the Supreme Lord. I cannot get freely absorbed in the shelter of Krishna, because I am getting already absorbed in all the 3 things which are detrimental for my spiritual path. We try to take up all false shelters, girls. All false shelters. Okay, this will save me from this, this will save me from this, this will save me from this. All false shelters. And we take up false designations also. Like, I am so and so, I am so and so, I am so and so, I tried in this way, I am trying in this way, I'll try in this way only. One who is in proper knowledge of who is Supreme Personality of the Godhead, he will take shelter of only Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Once you know that you have to call the township to pick up your garbage cans, recycling or whatever it is, those garbage cans, you will call only that department, right, Niyati? Why would you call the cardiology department of JFK hospital to pick up the garbage? That means you are fool. You have to call the township to pick up, right? So when you know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, and when you know the verse what we sing as a prayer, Ishvara Paramakrishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karvana Karnam, when you know and understand that, why would you take the false shelters? And if you take the false shelters, you will become a fool. You want to be in this material world again and again and go through these all problems. It won't be nice, Ishita and Niyati's life like America, everything being taken care by. So it is there also, our mind is a big impediment, isn't it? Trump is happy sitting in the White House? No, he's always afraid of many things, of his position, of his power, of his life, and many things. We are at peace. So we have to understand this position of Krishna. Even though he seems to be born as a Kshatriya, even though he seems to be raised up as a Vaishya, he does not belong to any of this qualification of this Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmana, nothing. His position is unchanged as the supreme of everybody, including Lord Vishnu, Shiva and Brahma. As the Lord of everyone, he is the one who gives the reward. Suppose if you are getting some reward, don't give that credit to anybody else, or don't give that credit to yourself, because the credit or the reward is you are getting from Krishna. He is only the giver of success, name, fame, anything, because he is the source of everything. Krishna has to not work. He has no need to work. He is the Supreme Lord. When we are understanding this truth of Krishna, not just by looking at his activities, by his transcendental nature, then we can get this transcendental knowledge and we can apply this transcendental knowledge. Krishna tells to Arjuna, in the past, all the receivers of this knowledge, it was said, right, he has given this knowledge to so and so, so and so, so and so. In the past, all these receivers of the knowledge acted with this knowledge. See, having an information is something, and using that information and getting transformed is something. If you don't do this second part, the first part of information has no value. Yes, you know that it's a danger signal, yet you cross that danger signal or go into that danger signal is your stupidity. You have the information, but you are not acting on that information. You don't have a realized knowledge. You don't have anything which you can apply in your life with that knowledge. So information, information, information. No transformation. What is use of that information? So this transcendental knowledge is not like once you get that information, you will be absorbed in that transcendental understanding, nature. His birth is self-desired. Krishna comes on his own accord. Krishna comes on his own will. It's not karmic. Niyati is here sitting today in America and so and so place into a house and listen to Bhagavad Gita. This is karmic. I'm sitting here and speaking here Bhagavad Gita. This is karmic. This is related to our past karma. But Krishna's is not like that. Krishna tells to Arjuna, in the past, all of these receivers of knowledge, they become free from all the reactions. The main important thing of the transcendental knowledge is you will work for Krishna, you will work for the source of creation, you will work for the Supreme Lord, then you will not have any reaction. We studied in Karma Yoga, right? 3rd chapter, very clearly. Pious activities, you get punya. Sinful activities, you get papa. Only 2 activities. But apart from these 2 kinds of activities, we have some activity called devotional work. Pious work, impious work, but there is something above these 2 things which is called as devotional work. What is the need of this devotional work? Isn't the pious work enough? We discussed about it. Pious work will get us punya, and that punya will lead us to again this material world. To enjoy the punya karma, you have to come here only. Golden shackles, iron shackles, shackles are shackles. Both are going to put us in prison only. There is nothing seeing these golden bangles in the prison and saying, I have the golden bangles. You are in the prison with these golden shackles. So no much use. It's a cause of bondage, and consequently, it's a suffering only. You're not having proper food, you're not having proper, I mean, nowadays prison houses are nice. People want to go and stay in prison houses forever because they have food, they have accommodation, they have working. But it's not like that. You don't have a free will choices. You are bound. In the same way, in the material world also you are bound. We are not completely free from janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi as long as you enjoy the facilities in the material world and become complacent. You know the complacency word, right? I'm okay, I'm doing good, I'm fine. My son, when I ask him to take out the garbage can, he says, I'm good, mom. I know you are good. If you are good, take out the garbage can. I am good, he means like, I'm okay, you can take care of that. No, I'm not asking you. Take out the garbage can means take out the garbage can. Oh, I'm good, ma. Or he says, you got it. No, I did not get it, I don't want to get it, you get it. So it's like I'm okay feeling. You're not okay in this material world without the knowledge of Krishna. What are the characteristics of the person who is in this knowledge? How does he act? How does he work? Now, he works without any, you can note it down, he works without any desire for sense enjoyment. One who has the transcendental knowledge, that person, that living entity, that human being will not work for sense enjoyment, because this knowledge is like fire, and that fire burns off the ignorance of working for his senses and his mind and his body. Instead, he becomes smart and intelligent to work for the source of everything, so that he doesn't get any reaction. That's the power of transcendental or spiritual knowledge. It is like a burning fire which can burn off all the reactions. The work has to be, we have read in the 3rd chapter, that the work has to be performed for as a sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. Remember the cycle what we discussed day before yesterday, how the rain come and then all grains, everybody is sustaining on the grains, and the rains are generated from the grains, and the grains are generated from the rain, and rain comes from the sacrifices what are done to please the demigods. Ultimately, the Yajnapati, or the enjoyer of all the sacrifice, or the beneficiary of all the sacrifice, is Lord Vishnu. So any work done to please the Vishnu is sacrifice to Vishnu is called devotional work. What is this connection, Mataji, between sacrifice to Vishnu and the devotional service? Can you please explain? Yes, I can explain in my capacity. There are many types of sacrifices, kids, that are mentioned in the Vedas. Let's see how many types. Maybe you cannot catch up with my pace of explaining, but you can listen carefully and write some of them. The yogis do sacrifices to the demigods. So demigod worship, they do the sacrifices, Indra, Chandra, Vayu, Varuna, etc. There are some sacrifices done by the brahmanas to please the higher brahmanas. Some brahmacharis do the sacrifice by the process of hearing. They always listen to the Vedic hymns, Vedic lectures, Vedic things. Hearing is a process of one sacrifice. Ideal gruhasthas means family life people, they do sacrifice by sacrificing the sense enjoyment. I don't want to enjoy this for my sense enjoyment. I will leave this, I will leave this, I will leave this. People who are able to control the mind and senses, they give their mind and senses as a sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. There are severe austerities one practices, like Ashtanga yoga we call, right? All the kinds of yoga system, they stand on one leg, they breathe with one nose, or they don't breathe, or they close their ears, whatever the type, I don't know, but they are also doing the sacrifices. Severe austerities they need not do. They stand in the Himalayas, half body closed with the snow. I mean, they submerge themselves into the snow or submerge themselves into the earth, and they do their austerities. There are people who take strict vows of living austere life. I don't want to eat this, I don't want to eat this, I want to do nirjal for 5 days, 10 days. That's a sacrifice. And they sacrifice the material possessions. I have this, so I want to donate it. That's a sacrifice. The studying of the Vedic scriptures is itself a sacrifice. Like how hearing, the studying is also sacrifice. There are a lot of breathing exercises, starts with pranayama. That's also kind of sacrifice. You are coming out of your comfort zone and doing something different. May it be for your bodily health, but here it is mostly mentioned for pleasing the Lord. Others control completely their eating habits. Okay, concludes all these. Krishna concludes that all these performers know the meaning of the sacrifice. This sacrifice is not like you are sacrificing something which is very dear to you. You are sacrificing which is really detrimental to you. Meaning all these sacrifices they do because they want to get cleansed of the reactions and make gradual progress in the path of bhakti. So you are leaving that which is meant for to be left. You are not leaving anything that which is useful for you. They are sacrificing those things which are not good for your bhakti path. So we understand from here that sacrifice is essential for everybody and anybody. Then you may ask, Mataji, why so many sacrifices are mentioned? Why so many? Just say that meditate on Krishna, that's the biggest sacrifice, and forget all other things. Why it is mentioned in Vedas so many things? Because we are 8.4 million species, girls. So 8.4 million consciousness. I'm not talking about the population, I'm talking about the species. 8.4 million species. And in that species, how much population you can imagine? And everybody has different consciousness. Everybody is inclined to different work. If we say that, hey, shut your mouth, keep quiet, Krishna would have said, right? Shut your mouth, keep quiet, kill them. That's it. He need not explain whole 45 minutes Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So we have different inclinations. I want to understand Krishna in this way, but I have some problems. Okay, I want to understand Krishna in this way, but I have some other problems. Everybody is different, and according to their inclinations, they want to understand the supreme truth. Yes, these are all useful. Of course, these are all useful because you are trying to get control over your senses and come out of this comfort zone of I and mind. These are very important. But Krishna says, if at all you are really knowledgeable, if you have this transcendental knowledge, what you will do is better than simply sacrificing some material possessions. What one should do? One should perform sacrifice to acquire this transcendental knowledge. Because the whole ultimate goal of all these sacrifices is to get the transcendental knowledge. And it is said in the starting only, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. One who has this transcendental understanding of Krishna's birth and pastimes, he will not come to this material world again. Are you seeing the connection, kids? Sacrifice, work, how we get off from this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. Working in transcendental knowledge is called devotional work. Definition. What is devotional work? Working in transcendental knowledge is called devotional work. And by performing devotional work, we will not incur any reaction because we are performing not for our sense gratification. That's why transcendental knowledge is so important. If somebody asks you after this class, what did you learn from transcendental knowledge? The main thing you have to say is, through this transcendental knowledge, we will not have our actions will not have any reactions. Not just by the knowledge, by acting on that knowledge. I got this transcendental knowledge today, the theoretical knowledge, and tomorrow I am going to perform the same old habits. Old habits leads to old results only. You don't get the new results if you don't implement the new knowledge. So the essence of why we obtain this transcendental knowledge, how is it useful, is it's useful to burn the past reactions also and not to add the current reactions also, because you are not doing for you or your people or so-called your things, but you are surrendering it to the source of everything. You are doing everything to please the source of everything. Now let's learn. We're almost done. We have some time. Now to learn this transcendental knowledge properly, we did a leap of 20 verses. We are now in around 34th verse. That's a very important verse, 4.34. And what does that verse speak about is, how we have to learn this transcendental knowledge. Very important. Pencil circle verse, memorization verse, important verse. How do we understand this transcendental knowledge? How do we learn this transcendental knowledge? How we properly implement or apply this transcendental knowledge in our life? And what Krishna recommends is 4.34. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. That's the verse, 4.34. And what does that say? This knowledge can be really understood and applied when you take the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Bona fide spiritual master. Let's break up these words. Bona fide means what? The definition of bona fide is being given that he has to have a authorization through his spiritual master, through his spiritual master, through his spiritual master, and that goes till Krishna. That's the authority. Suppose tomorrow you become a doctor. What is your bona fide? What is your authority? You have a certification that you did your medical study through this so and so college, which is affiliated and given the authority. So this spiritual master's authority or qualification is that he should be situated in transcendental knowledge by himself, and he should have realized the truth. That's the qualification of the spiritual master. That's how bona fide word comes from. He is bona fide if he is practicing on the bona fide knowledge. He is bona fide if he has a bona fide spiritual master whose lineage is connected to Krishna. We discussed, right, in the starting only, Krishna gave this knowledge to Brahma first, and from Brahma to Narada. And if our lineage is connects back to Krishna, that means our lineage is bona fide. Second one is approaching. We talked about approaching a bona fide spiritual master, right? Approaching means the process is given how you approach the spiritual master. It is not just whimsically you pay the fees and you go and you approach. Okay, my mom is paying you $100. Can you please explain me about Bhagavad Gita? Or can you explain me about Bhagavatam? Can you explain me about the self? Can you explain me how I have to get rid of this janma with you? No, that's not the mood of approaching. The process is given. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. The process a student has to follow to approach a bona fide spiritual master is being given. The process is to be in the submissive mode. One should actually submit himself. One should inquire with the submissive mood, and the inquiries should be proper. There are two kinds of inquiries, Niyati and Nishita. One is prashna, one is pariprashna. You all know Telugu. Prashna means question. Pariprashna means when you have the full faith in the answer of the person whom you are asking, and you are ready to implement that knowledge or that answer in your life, that is called pariprashna. So a spiritual knowledge seeker student should not ask just for asking sake, but it should be like a pariprashna. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. We have to try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquiring from him very submissively. And then there is another thing added, that is pranipatena, means he has to render service unto him. Before in Gurukulas, Niyati, it's not like sitting from home on the chair early morning and listen to Bhagavad Gita. They used to live in Gurukula. They used to get up early in the morning. They used to take bath with the cold water. They used to collect the twigs and dry wood for the cooking. They used to do all the services in the Gurukula. In the whole day, they would have given only maybe 1 hour or half an hour knowledge. And for that knowledge to receive, they used to work all this time. You may think it's child labor. It's not child labor. It is inculcating the nature of a student and the pining for the real transcendental knowledge. And that is permanent knowledge. So the process of surrenderance is clearly explained here. So the qualification of an aspiring student for bhakti life should be actually submissive, should be actually in a mood to render the service and make proper inquiries, pariprashna. After I ask, it's okay, I will forget about it after the class. No, you asked a question, you got an answer, and you have the faith in that answer. You have to try to implement that knowledge in your daily life. In the same way, there is a qualification of the spiritual master, which we already discussed. He should be situated in the transcendental knowledge. That means he should be aware of the knowledge. He should understand that knowledge, and he has been implemented and implementing that knowledge in his life, and he has realized the truth. That's why the verse at the ending says, Jnanina Tattvadarshina. He will impart the transcendental knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. He has experienced the truth. Am I experiencing the truth? I have seen the truth? No. I'm still a practitioner. You are still a practitioner. But the process is strong. I'm holding on to the process. The process is fully empowering, and I'm holding on to that process. One day, with Krishna's mercy, we will go to that stage of being Tattva Darshana, wherein we can see the truth. But it's not always about the destination or the goal. It's about the journey. It's about how we are learning. The learning process itself is so purificatory. We are not going to lose anything by learning this. What we are going to gain, you don't even know. It's the subtle knowledge. It's the subtle body gain. It's the gain for our eternal existence. Knowledge is of two kinds: theoretical knowledge and real life knowledge. Just studying for the sake of studying, finishing the Bhagavad Gita, that is theoretical knowledge. Real life knowledge is one should act on the platform of this theoretical knowledge. That's the realized knowledge. And when we implement or when we act on this theoretical knowledge practically, then we become acharyas. Acharya means one who lives by example. So I cannot be called as Tattvadarshina, but I can be called as a good teacher if I act on what I am teaching. Getting it, kids? Yes? So Krishna summarizes whole of this transcendental knowledge in one sentence. Listen carefully. Transcendental knowledge is the knowledge by which one will be able to see that all the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. We all belong to Krishna, and with this knowledge we can go back to Krishna. So that's why this transcendental knowledge is very important. Once we have the transcendental knowledge, that will directly affect on our manasa, vacha, karmana, through the mind, through the words, and through the actions. Especially actions, because actions get reactions. So when we have this transcendental knowledge, we will act properly. We will have a spiritual vision of everything happening in our life. These are all spirit souls. Krishna has explained, right? There is nothing which is not coming from him. Everything is a part and parcel of Krishna. Relationship can be understood and re-established by acquiring this transcendental knowledge. Without the transcendental knowledge, one cannot know our position, one cannot know Krishna's position, one cannot know how we have to reclaim our lost relationship with the Supreme Source. When a most sinful, abominable person also realizes about his identity of being part and parcel of Krishna and practices Krishna consciousness, he will be cleared of all the reactions of any of his bad work, even if it is killing somebody. The karma is nullified. The karma can be nullified. I told you, right, out of the 5 subject matters, only one thing that we can do some changes is karma. So our bad karma, which we know, knowingly done, unknowingly done, this lifetime and number of lifetimes in the back, everything can be cleared. Papam, bijam, kutam, everything can be cleared when you do devotional work. And how can you do devotional work? Is through the devotional knowledge or the transcendental knowledge. You're understanding the connection? Automatically one gets to the path of devotional work when he understands that any work other than this is going to bind him to this material world. So Krishna finally says to Arjuna, Arjuna, please leave up this lethargy or laziness, get up and fight. In the 2nd chapter ending also, he says the same thing. He says that peace is one of the very important thing one should have in order to go back to Godhead. Arjuna was not peaceful. He was in anxiety. To clear that anxiety, Arjuna needs this transcendental knowledge. To clear that anxiety and receive the transcendental knowledge, Arjuna needs a spiritual master. Arjuna has surrendered. If you see second chapter, Arjuna 2.7 verse, Arjuna has surrendered. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prachami tvam dharma sammuda cheta yat shreyashyannishvitam bruhitan me shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam. He says that I am a soul surrendered unto you. I am completely bewildered. I have no clarity of vision, what to do and what not to do. I am surrendering unto you. Please tell me for sure what is beneficial unto me. This is the qualification of a student. And Krishna accepts the position of being a spiritual master for Arjuna, and he is giving this transcendental knowledge to Arjuna. And after that also Krishna stays with him and explains how one has to act on the transcendental knowledge. That will be our 5th chapter, Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness. Got it? It's important study, kids. Though as I have said, I have done maybe 100 times this Bhagavad Gita, still I prepare before giving this to the students, depending on the consciousness of the students, level of the students. This Bhagavad Gita, once you become serious and once you approach me after 10 years, if I am good and you are good with our relationship, the explanation will be completely different. This is, I'm giving you just preliminary, basic, wherein you can get attracted and attached and inclined towards the supreme truth. Bhagavad Gita is vast. One day there will come that you just have full faith in Bhagavad Gita and you open any verse of Bhagavad Gita, it will relate to your current situation in this material world in Kali Yuga, and it will help you. To build up that faith, I'm making real good endeavor. It's not just I'm speaking you with 1 hour. I spend more than 1 hour to speak this 1 hour with you. Till now I have like maybe piled up like 10-12 books. In last 3 years I'm talking, not about 17 years. I sometimes make it into, nowadays the convenience is there that I'm recording it and it is saved, but it is very important knowledge, very, very important knowledge. And you have to be all very feel the fortune of receiving this knowledge. You have to be grateful to your parents, you have to be grateful to be me, you have to be grateful to Krishna, you have to be grateful to this bona fide disciplic succession which we are talking about, who have carefully transferred this knowledge to all of us. Okay? Is it okay? No, Niyati, losing off today. Is it, Niyati? You are feeling sleepy today. You didn't have good sleep?
No, it's not. I was listening.
I know you are listening. For sure your ears were working. I am 100% sure. You cannot escape from this. This is very important knowledge. Your ears were hearing. But have good sleep, okay? Have good sleep. Always have good sleep. Yesterday I slept around 11:30, got up at 5 o'clock, which is still less sleep. I also have to practice. Yeah. Okay, it was good. Today it was good?
Yeah.
Please make sure that you have this chapter name in your mind whenever we are discussing, so that whole knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is only one truth, that we have to surrender unto Krishna through a bona fide spiritual master, but different aspects are being put into different sections by Krishna. So when you keep that in mind and try to understand, you can understand in different angles this supreme truth. Like when you see the introduction, when you see the Arjuna's position, when you see the body and soul explanation, when you see the Karma Yoga, when you see this transcendental knowledge, when you see the Karma Yoga actions with this transcendental knowledge, we have to have this particular topic or the name of the chapter or the theme in which we are proceeding. Then we can understand in that angle and version. Okay? Okay, I will stop the recording.